So in a lot of the comments, in different videos we've done, people have like, obviously not everyone's gonna know that I used to compete in the past because I don't talk about it a lot and I don't like harp on it. To be honest, like my competitive history isn't that wonderful for me to reminisce about because like I just didn't do as well as I wanted, and like that's kind of why I'm guiding people on this path of like empowering yourself and kind of like understanding yourself and like understanding what it takes to be a good bodybuilder and not just relying on other people to do it for you, right? Because I made that mistake when I was younger, and once I got into training myself and understanding like what worked for me and what didn't work for me and just really getting in tune with what was going on with me, I really started to flourish, and that was kind of near the end of my bodybuilding career. But I've had a lot of people in the comments and different like on Instagram and things like that, just asking me like, when did I compete, or can we see videos of pictures of you when you competed? People want to see me with my physique now, and they want to do all this crap. Like I think I'm going to pose for the camera or something. But me and Alora were talking, and I showed her some of my old footage from like back when I did a few features of muscular development. And I think this one that we found was in the off season. I think it was in like 2010, 2011, right before I did the Toronto Pro that in 2011. And I was living in New Jersey at the time, and I went to film at Bev Francis's gym in Syosset, New York, and with Robbie Duran from Muscular Development, who is like a massive force back then for me because he really got behind me. He's pretty much the reason why I got sponsored by Animal. He introduced me to all these people down in New Jersey, New York area. So big shout out to Robbie if he ever sees this. And yeah, just gonna play the video and kind of react to like let you know what was going on with me back then and kind of what I think about myself back then now. So I smash on a lot of other people, and I make little digs at certain people here and there, but I'm also willing to give it to myself. So this will kind of be something like that. Yeah, so this series they used to call In the Trenches. This is me when I'm 330 pounds and looking beefy as hell. And no beard, looking like a young buck. But yeah, I mean, I want to lower the volume on this. Yeah, so I mean, I weighed in at 328 here. I was like hovering around 330, like 325 in there, depending on how much my fat ass ate that day. I'd be at a certain weight. But yeah, so I used to start a lot of my chest workouts when I didn't have a messed up shoulder. My shoulder was messed up here, but it wasn't anywhere near what it is now. So I used to do these pullovers, just really light, just to expand, because I talk about that even now, like expansion of the rib cage and like really opening up your sternum and your rib cage and your intercostals and getting everything to like be able to expand. So I did this pullover motion. I kind of added that in just because it would allow me to kind of open things up before I started pressing. I would still do it nowadays, but my shoulder doesn't move in that range of motion anymore, so it's not going to be that productive for me. And yeah, I mean, I just would warm up with that, and then I would gradually move on to presses. So how to just keep moving, just keep doing this exercise. So then I would move on to like, I think this is a dumbbell. I went right to dumbbell presses because for the video I wanted to press the 200-pound dumbbells at Bev's. That's why I kind of went to Bev's. I was training in New Jersey at Signature Fitness, where Sean Clarita trains now. I trained there back in the day. It's like probably my favorite gym next to Pure Muscle. But we went up here because Bev's is historic and it's such a great spot. And it is a great gym too. It's just really far from where I was living at the time. It was like over an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. So we went there and filmed for this. So now I'm just warming up with the 135s. I went up slowly, and there's literally no one else in the gym other than the people you see in the background who probably can't lift the weights that I'm trying to get help with. So I had to get the guy that worked the counter. I forget his name. I wish I knew his name, but he was helping me lift the dumbbells onto my legs, just because I find like when I was lifting these heavy dumbbells, the effort of actually picking them up and putting them on my lap would drain me of all my energy. So I would like always try and get someone to at least put one up on my leg so I didn't have to kick both up or pick both up. So I mean, I just kind of, back in the day, like me benching heavy and me pressing heavy on dumbbells was like something I just always did. So I never had to like really get like in the groove. Like nowadays I got to really warm up if I want to go into like a heavier pressing motion. And then now so now I can do the 200 pounders. And this guy's about to break his back picking this up. He was like grunting and like making weird noises when he's picking this thing up. Like you see the strain this guy. It's like the heaviest thing he ever lifted. But I appreciate him. He was a good dude. He just bailed on me too. He wasn't gonna spot me. He just got the hell out of there. Yeah, what's he gonna do? Let it land on his foot? I don't know, I think I got 8. That's 1, 2, 3, struggling, 4, struggling, 5. Yeah, 2 more I think.
How's the form on this?
Good. Oh, 7.5. What was that, like 8? 8.5? Yeah. Yeah. So like the thing is I wanted to demonstrate with this video is like a lot of people will see when I'm training different guys, I get them to lift up and press, or I get them to keep this really high sternum and really big chest and head back and pushing through your hands, right? So this is back in 2010, 2011. This is exactly how I train. I've trained like this since then and before then. So the stuff that I'm showing these guys nowadays and the stuff that I'm passing on to people is not stuff I'm just thinking up or stuff that I'm like, oh, this might work. It's like, no, I've been training like this for a long time. Like, as you can see, my press starts from my hand. So I'm retracting, lifting chest, and I'm firing hands out. That's why my head moves back when I press and my chest lifts up, right? Because I've understood like where I need to originate my movement from, which is my hand. So it's forcing me up and back, right? So it's just like when I first started watching it, it was interesting to like see, because like I wanted to show people like this is like how I've always trained. Not necessarily. I mean, if you went back 10 years from this video, I don't know if I trained like that. But I mean, for the foreseeable, like for what I can remember in my past, this is how I've always trained, right? And it was thanks in part to like a lot of technique and a lot of form work that I did with Darren when I was coming up, my former trainer, and he really instilled us all this in me. And it was a big departure from how I was lifting prior to meeting him. But when I met him and I understood the movement and I saw what was happening and I felt what was happening, I changed everything. So I abandoned everything I did before. And I literally just started lifting the way I lift now. And I haven't looked back, right? So that's why my goal isn't like a lot of people write me, oh, you want to do training protocols and do a training book and all this shit. It's like, I don't really care about that because like I said, you guys can do any training style you want. But the movement needs to be efficient and the movement needs to be right. So I moved on to, I used to do these a lot when I had a good shoulder, and they were kind of like a fly press. So I wasn't a fan of flies in the sense of like letting the dumbbell fall out. I'd like to feel like more of a wider stretch, deeper stretch, and then a press around. So as you can see, it's not like a true fly. The dumbbell is actually almost falling back behind me, and then I'm driving through around. So I'm scooping pec, right? I just felt like there's less range of motion in that, but there's more pull into the pec. So you can see like the dumbbell falls back to my shoulder almost. And then I press around over my upper chest, right? So I just fall enough to feel the weight, and then I drive through my palms and squeeze up, right? So I'm getting that deep pull into my armpit area, and then I'm firing out and squeezing pec. So nowadays I could never do this. Like this might actually be something I bring back for a lot of guys. It's like sometimes I'll watch my older stuff and I'll remember what I used to do, because I literally have forgotten so much stuff like just over the years. Like I kind of stick to what works for me, but then I see these old movements I used to do and I'm like, oh, okay. And I remember doing them and why I did them, but it slips my mind, right? Because a lot of my training in the recent years has been centered around the fact that my mobility and my flexibility and a lot of stuff is hindered due to the issues that I have, right? So, but someone who has great shoulders and no issues, they can do this type of movement, no problem. But you can see the dumbbell sits flat on my palm. I'm always flat underneath the dumbbell. I'm never curled and my hands never turn in. It's always this flat motion of pressing up through the ceiling, coming around, an arcing motion almost, right? And I'm fighting to keep my chest up high the whole time. So even though my arm drops, my chest never sinks. So, and this is just basically the same type of movement, but on a cable, and it's more kind of like a decline motion. I'm not really falling back that far to my ears. I'm falling out to the side more. So I used to just like to hit like different angles of chest presses and different flies and things like that just to finish things off. Because I used to start with like heavy. Like you saw me, like I warmed up with like the fucking pullovers, and then I went right into dumbbell presses and went up to 200s, right? So I'd kind of I'd kind of structure my workout when I was doing this back in the day, where it'd be like I kind of hit my big lifts first, and like use all my energy to get like make sure I was topped up with energy to hit it, and then I'd taper off as the workout went down and went more to like just like a pumping style and keep pumping blood into that like fully engaged muscle, right? So I used to just really get a lot of blood in there and then just kind of pump and keep it in there.
And was this off-season prepping for something?
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't prepping here. I was just, I think this is in like, it was in the winter of like 2011, like probably in like January or something like that, I think, I want to say. But I wasn't doing much. I think I had just done guest posing. That's why I have like a little bit of protein on me. And I had, I think I did like a guest posing for Diana Cadeau or whatever in Florida, like one of her local shows. So that's why I actually look like I have somewhat of a tan, which I don't. But yeah, it's nice to see me when I had like a full bicep. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that tricep thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always like this feeling though, like on flies, where it's like I'm lifting up through things and I'm coming up through, right? You're looking extra beefy. They made me put that tank top on. I don't wear tank tops that tight. That was like the biggest one they had. Yeah. Yeah. No, but that, I mean, it was fun. Like the brand that I'm wearing in that Strength and Honor, or did they say Strength and Honor? Yeah, like they sponsored me back in the day, and they kind of just gave me clothing and like helped me out here and there. They didn't really do much, but I like their stuff. So they were like an up and coming brand, and then they basically, I don't know what happened to them, but another bodybuilder kind of took their slogan from them. I don't know whether that was planned or discussed. We won't say who that was, but it was they were cool guys. And at Bev Francis' gym, if you guys haven't been there, is a really cool gym. Like you can tell the history of that place, and like when you walk in there, you feel like you're training in the place where all the greats have been, right? Whether it's like for photo shoots or guys that actually train there. Like I think Kai used to train there pretty often. What the hell is his name? The 212 guy. No. Kevin English used to train there, I'm pretty sure. And like Victor Martinez, all the local New York, New Jersey guys used to go there. So it's a really cool spot. And I had a lot of fun filming there. But it's interesting to see like these older videos, and these people in the comments are like, who's Mike and what does he do and why does it matter? And like I'm going to be sitting in front of the camera like expelling out to you guys why you should listen to me or whatever. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. You know what I mean? Like my training style is my training style, and if it helps people, which it seems to be helping a lot of people out there, then cool, man. Like I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the only way to do things. I'm not saying that there's other guys that aren't just as good or better. It's just like everything's different, right? So if you like what I'm doing, then keep fucking with it, and I'll keep telling you like what worked for me. And if some stuff works, some stuff doesn't, just take it and run with it and do what you want. But it's cool to look back at those videos and remember what it was like to be like deep into the bodybuilding scene, where now I'm cruising at like 300 pounds and I actually feel small. So